Today's video is going to get controversial, so if you get easily offended, then I'm really sorry.
Every day we dance and life's been smiling. I'm delighted 'cause I got you.
Hello Zebras, my name is Becky, welcome to my channel. If it's the first time that you've been here, then welcome. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a genetic condition, and this channel is here to support people with similar conditions and mental health issues, so welcome to my channel. This is a zebra cake. My sister brought this back from America, and I really shouldn't be eating it because it's got gluten in it, but it's a zebra cake. How could I not? It's so good. Now, the groups that I am in online for EDS, people have tried to have this conversation and have had their posts removed or shut down, and there is nothing I hate more than censorship, so I'm going to talk about it right here, right now. So the big question I have for you today is, if you have a genetic condition knowingly, should you go on and procreate? It's a toughie. So a little bit of context for this. My Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, we think, has come down from my mother's side of the family. And at the time of when my mother had me and my sister, she wasn't aware that she carried the gene, basically. I'm going to do a nice nifty little diagram for you. So this is my mother. She's beautiful, isn't she? We'll just give her some hair. And she had me and my sister. That's me. And we think that my grandma is slightly bendy, and my grandpa also has problems with his hips and joints. And they had my auntie, who also has hip problems, and she had a son who does not have any problems. Out of all of these people in my family, I am the only one who's been diagnosed with EDS. So my mum is bendy, my sister is bendy, my grandpa has hip problems and joint problems, my grandma, I think, is bendy, my auntie, she has hip problems, and my cousin does not have anything at all, which is great news. So as far as I'm aware, the carrier does not have to have EDS, but the hypermobility gene, which my mum definitely has because she is super bendy, just like me. And she had a 50% chance of passing any kind of hypermobility or EDS onto me. And she passed EDS onto me, and she passed hypermobility to my sister. So my sister doesn't have any problems besides the fact that she's a bit bendy, like me. She can do all of the funny things. She sometimes has trouble standing, but as far as it goes, she is not unwell. So the line between where hypermobility ends and EDS begins is quite blurry, but to sum it up, EDS is far more severe and affects many, many more internal organs and loss of mobility, whereas hypermobility is you're a little bit bendy, you can do things that maybe someone else without the gene mutation can't do. And there are several possibilities as to why I actually ended up with EDS and not hypermobility. One of them actually includes the Gardasil vaccine, which I will do an entirely other video on, but this video is about morally, is it okay to pass it on if you know that you have it? And in the boards that I've seen, there's a completely mix of different opinions, some being absolutely not, you shouldn't. How would you feel if you knew that, you know, you'd had this passed on to you knowingly? And I am very much in the opinion that I think life is very sacred, and, you know, I'm very happy, I'm lucky to be here. To me, my life is better existing than not having a life at all, but there are possibilities where there are people who are more severe and might not want to be living, which is the sad reality. As long as I can remember, way before I got sick, I always had this innate feeling that I wanted to one day have children of my own, and that never wavered throughout university. And in fact, when my younger cousin was born, it kind of only reified in my mind that that was something I would want in my future. But obviously, since being diagnosed, I have this moral question as to whether or not I would willingly want to pass my genes on, knowing that there's a possibility, not 100%, obviously, it's not guaranteed that any future offspring that I had would suffer like me, and this was explained to me by my doctor, and they said to me, you know, don't let this put you off having children, but obviously keep it in mind. Whereas there are people who are adamant that it is unacceptable and morally wrong, and you are a bad person for doing that. And I disagree. I think that's wrong. I think ultimately only you can be the one to make that decision. It's your body. You know, if you were to pass your bad genes on and your child ended up in the same situation as you or worse off, you would ultimately have to be the one who lived with that. And I think that's quite a hard thing to deal with, and I think you'd have a lot of guilt. You know, I often worry sometimes that my mum feels guilty for passing it on to me because, you know, she didn't know. Now, I know a lot of people with EDS actually go on and have fertility issues, so I think if you have that decision removed from you, maybe it makes things easier in a sense that it's out of your hands and you have to look for alternative routes. Also, as well, there's technology that's coming in at the minute where people can actually have, I think it's called gene therapy, where you can remove select genes. Obviously at the minute the hypermobility gene has not been found, so it only would apply to vascular EDS and classical EDS. Personally for me, you know, I would love to have children when I'm older. You know, I always have wanted kids. As far as having my own, you know, I would love to have my own children, but it is something that definitely plays on my mind a lot, and I don't know whether the risk is entirely worth it if they were to suffer as much as me, because I have suffered quite a lot and I would hate for a child to have to suffer the same as me. But at the same time, I'm very grateful that I was given life, and if I'd had the choice knowing that I was going to be in pain, I don't think I would have chosen any differently, because I'm very happy with the experiences that I've had. I have no animosity towards my mum for it. You know, it wasn't her fault. It's not her fault that she was born with that gene. I think as well, weirdly enough, as a child, I always kind of had this idea in the back of my mind that I wanted to maybe possibly adopt children, which has nothing to do with actually being disabled. It's just something that I actually wanted to do. So obviously that takes out the gene mutations straight away, and I think it's quite a special thing to be able to go through an adoption, because you're actively choosing to be somebody's parents, and I think that's a very special thing that you can do. But obviously it doesn't take away from having a bond between a child that's actually your own child. It's two different things. It's like apples and oranges. I think they're both very special in their own way, but it will never replace having your own child, but it's something different. I can't explain it. I would hate for anyone to see these posts and boards of people bashing, especially it seems to be younger women like me with this condition who are a bit lost about what choice they should make and whether it's the right choice they should do and whether it's morally acceptable. And I think it's wrong that people are bashing them, because it is up to that individual to make that decision, and no one should take that away from them. That it's not 100% guaranteed that this child is going to turn out with the mutation, but obviously you have to take it into account that it is a possibility. And would you be able to live with yourself? That's the question you have to answer for yourself. And if you feel that you could cope and manage it, then I also think as well that if you decide that you are going to go ahead and have your own children and it's not put you off, which is great because that's your choice to make, no one else should make that decision for you. You also have to weigh up whether you are physically able to provide for a child, especially like me. You know, I have a lot of limitations of things I kind of can't do. I get tired very easily. Would it be fair for me to have a child that I wouldn't be able to give 100% to if I'm not 100% able-bodied to do that? That's another question that you need to find the answer to. And if you feel like you can provide everything that a child needs and more, then great, go for it. I think as far as I go, you know, I feel very undecided about it and conflicted, and I think it's not a decision that I would take lightly. If I was to end up accidentally getting pregnant, then that's a whole different ball game. You know, I'm pro-choice, but for me, my choice would be to keep it. I don't think I could personally live with myself if I ever got rid of it, but it's a hypothetical situation in which I'm grateful I'm not in right now. But ultimately, the choice is yours, and I think you have to be the one to make that decision. It's not for anyone else to decide for you. So if you are seeing these message boards and it's putting you off, then that's wrong, you know. You should do your own research. If you have any thoughts about this slightly controversial topic, then please leave them in the comment section below. I'm open for mature conversation and discussion. You know, I think it's something that should be discussed and have people's opinions. Everyone's opinions should be respected. But when people are telling other people what they should and shouldn't do, and that they're a bad person for making these choices, that's wrong, and you should really take a look at yourself, because that's not your choice to make. Anyway guys, if you've enjoyed this video, drop it a little like and click on the subscribe button to see when I post new updates. It's entirely free, so there's no reason why you shouldn't do. And until next time guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye! Can I just ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Is that alright? If you'd known that you'd had the hypermobility gene, would you have done anything differently?
No, I think I would have still had kids because it was hypermobility, and that doesn't necessarily equate to Ehlers-Danlos. Well, I wouldn't be without you, so it's quite a hard question to answer, because you know, you're here and I know you and I love you, and I wouldn't be without you for the world. So